doing a
little guitar thing, yeah, no, I know.
And I thought the legs were a bit like,
yeah, that's
I'm like,
short, son.
you know.
You just never know what people are looking at.
I thought you said you were working last night. Anyway, I remember you saying,
No.
"Oh, I can't do it because I'm working."
No, that's when I thought the Kildonan race was.
Oh, I've never seen.
3 weeks ago or 2
I've never
weeks
seen
ago.
anything advertised.
No, it was always on Facebook.
Right.
Right, so we're okay.
Well,
We're okay with
do it.
with the shorts.
Yeah, well, I am. I think. Yeah, you're right.
Right, here we go.
Yeah.
Dave the Rave and Gordon the Gopher, roving the rock together.
Yeah.
Running and roving.
First time I've been in your pad.
Is it?
Yeah.
Gosh. Didn't know that.
Yeah. No, I've never been in this
We're
place.
just working too hard all the time, aren't we?
Well, yeah.
And working
usually
even harder now.
Usually meeting places in a car.
Yeah, we do, that's right, we meet and go
Yeah.
running. That's what we do. We meet. This is the first time I've had the camera on in here, certainly, and been recording stuff. So, what we'll do, a second. Yes, checking the camera is on.
Just checking.
Yeah. Roving the rock. So actually, going back to that then, first of all, I am working harder than I was before. It's busier because it's the summer season. We can't get enough staff. Every single employer I've spoken to, I'll not labour the point, can't get enough staff, all of them, and really a big problem. So that's just a fact, you know that, right? There's just not enough young people here anymore. There's no rentals. It's just all holiday houses now, and that's really all there is. Just about. Not enough long-term lentils anyway. So, how about you?
Long-term lentils?
Lentils. Long-term lentils.
I'm working, but obviously working hard at work and away from work. So yeah, I'm getting a back's been suffering.
Because
and my work was on the radio. Well, two folk from my work were on BBC Scotland discussing the housing situation. On how folk, the cranny, obviously having to build staff accommodation because people can't get rentals on the island, so they're continually having to put up staff, and obviously talking about maybe having to build more staff accommodation.
Yeah.
And as I said, they've actually got more staff accommodation than they have rooms in the hotels.
Is that right?
Yep.
More staff. Gosh.
Than the actual rooms they sell.
Jeez, well.
Yep.
So that's
I didn't know
important
that.
It is. Yeah, yeah.
Yep. So, and they're talking about maybe having to
build more, and they've got big, almost like barracks. I'm not trying to be insulting, but they're big buildings. You know, I'm sure they're lovely, but they're designed for that purpose, to hold a lot of staff. You know, and they still don't have enough.
So we're talking about 150, 60, 70 staff. Yeah.
Yeah, is that right? Yeah.
Average, probably. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's the same with us. So we'll get staff, but it's kind of an Arran robbing Peter to pay Paul, because if you get somebody, you get them from somewhere else, and then they don't have enough staff, and then so.
Majority of ours are from the mainland.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, obviously they're losing staff, but we don't get a lot from other places on the island coming. We get a few, but majority.
Whereas our job has to be, because there's no accommodation.
Yeah. And if they didn't have the accommodation, they wouldn't come.
No, and we're struggling now, and that's the first time now we're not filling vacancies, and so in any case, the point is I've been working harder and doing overtime and things. So we've not been meeting for runs, have we?
No.
And you've been busy.
I've been busy when I've been off. Just trying to catch up. Yeah.
And have you been doing more hours, or is it just harder work?
No, I've been doing more. Well, obviously busy. I'm busier now because it's the school holidays.
Yeah.
A lot of running about in the day to get through the day. Yeah, it's good, but away from work, just too much to do as well.
Yeah. Catching up,
yeah, and then obviously because you're busy, so busy at work, when you get home, you just
that's right. It takes me a day to recover. Yeah. After I've had a wee run of days. But I still get my running done. Old age as much as anything.
My running's a bit of therapy, and it's not resting, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's what we're going to do today.
Yeah.
So are you fit? Because you were kind of injured for a while, weren't you?
Just the usual. Obviously talking about my back. My back's been an issue, but it isn't an issue when I'm running, so that's not a problem. It's before and after that it seems to be worse. But just plodding along.
Yeah.
Obviously trying to get the weight down, but as we always discuss,
Oh yeah.
doesn't seem to happen. But anyway, you can tell us what we're doing today because I haven't a clue.
Well, your dog's at the dog
My
groomer,
dog's
which
at
is
the
now
dog,
BTD.
the dog thing. The
Dog groomer,
parlour,
is that
yeah.
Barks and Bubbles, is that what it's
Barks
called?
and Bubbles, yeah.
In Waiting Bay. And so, and that takes what, you reckon, about an hour and a half,
Well,
a couple of hours?
It's 2 hours max.
Yeah. Okay, so we've got a wee bit of talking to do and a wee bit of running, probably run for an hour. I was thinking that we could run up to Glenasdale Falls and then just stop running and kind of wade up the river to under at the bottom of the falls.
Right.
And just completely like soak ourselves to the knees or whatever it is and try not to fall in the burn. But that might be a really stupid plan indeed.
Assuming, do you know a point where you can join the river?
There is a good point, if you go up from kind of right hand side as you look at it from the main road. There
coffee
is
pot side.
Right. There's an actual path that goes down really close
Right.
to it, but there are trees that have fallen down. It's like a secret path,
Right.
and you have to crawl under the fallen trees.
Oh, right.
It's not good. I can see people have done it, but I also did used to work with somebody in the 80s on Arran at Brodick who actually had a tree fall on him, and that was the end of him.
Right.
So
well, I'm sure the trees aren't going to fall on you, but
just moving, any movement at all, that's you.
crawling around under trees, yeah. With my
It didn't
back.
look good. It didn't look good to me. I'm a bit feared, I have to say. On the other side, you can get down a little bit further away from it and just wade up the river. But it might be slimy and slippy and it might be very difficult. But if you want to give it a try, we can have a think when we get there.
Well, it might be better to kind of like ascertain where we could today and then leave the actual going down.
Oh, I know
there
where we'd
till-
go down. I know we'd
Oh,
go
you
down.
do, right.
Yeah, I just don't know how difficult it is going along wading in a river. We'll have a
Okay.
think when we get there.
Wading in the river.
If we don't, if we chicken out,
But
we'll
like
just go.
gorge walking then.
We'll just go round up.
Gorge walking without all the gear.
Yeah, without any, without the gear or any idea.
Yeah.
Absolutely no gear or
I assume
idea.
the river, well, I don't know, is the river high at the moment?
It would be medium-y.
Medium-y.
Been a lot of rain lately, but not for the last,
Yeah.
just been off on for the last 24 hours. Okay, so that's what I'm thinking. If we don't do that, we'll just go along the forest here and up the back of White Bay and Giant's Graves and Knockinkelly and all of these things.
Right, okay.
Yeah, that'd be fine.
Yeah.
So that's the plan for me.
Yeah.
I did a race yesterday for the first time in 4 years. I think it's 4 years. I went to Kildonan Fun Run, a 4 mile race round, starting from Kildonan Hall and running exactly 4 miles. In fact, it was 4.02 miles on my GPS.
Right.
From the hall, anti-clockwise, up to Dippin and a long high corrie and back down Churchbury to the hall again. It's a big hill. You and I have both raced
It's a
it many
long hill.
times. I think your name is most prolific on that trophy of anybody.
So they've still got that trophy.
Yep. And I would add, I didn't win it.
Can I ask you, was there a female trophy handed out?
No, I don't think the female one got one, and I ended up, there wasn't a veterans trophy, there was just a main winner trophy. I think the other two, I think, hadn't been handed back.
Because I donated one
Yep.
when because there wasn't a first female trophy.
Yeah, I remember.
So I donated one,
Yep.
and obviously whether it's ever get back in the last, I don't know.
I don't
It's
know.
a shame.
I don't know.
The male one.
They must,
seems to
well,
always
they'll
be
know who's
back,
got
you know.
them, so hopefully they are getting them back. People
Yeah.
just forget things.
So how many were in the race?
I think 20.
That's all right.
It was alright.
Yeah, that's good.
And quite a lot of other people around as well, so it was a nice little atmosphere.
Mainly locals or?
A few
People-
locals. I remember there was Nicole Bunyan.
She ran.
Yeah.
My goodness.
And also
That's
Tommy
good.
Gilmore from Arran Runners.
All right. Good.
He was worried in case he was going to be last, he said. And 'cause I don't see either of them out running at all. You know, it was just for fun.
Oh, then Nicole's talked about starting again, so that's
Well,
good.
she was very fast when she was younger. And,
Yeah.
but anyway, and I ended up being second and first veteran, and I know it was just fun and stuff like that, but the nice thing was, well, how do you evaluate how you did? This is the thing about getting older. So I'm 58 and a half, and you and I've been running since I was 40. I've been a veteran all my running days. So I was smoking till I was 35. You've been running for 40 years, all your life basically, haven't you?
I started
Nearly
in
40.
88, so what does that make it?
88, 90, 08, 18, 35 years.
Right.
Yeah, I mean all your adult life. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been half of mine, but the thing is, we can go back so far to times that we used to do, and you think there's this mixture of it's to do with getting older, of course, of disappointment in your times, and also pleasure in your times as well. So how did I do? I went there knowing that I've only been running half an hour a day every day so I do 3 hours a week. That's all I do. I do half an hour a day, and I push it quite often, but it's only 3 hours a week.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got these disadvantages. You were talking about weight, and then there's old age, and then there's also the amount that you train, and injuries as well. And so I wondered how it would end up. Anyway, I was aiming for trying to get 30 minutes, which is 7.5 minutes a mile. And I ended up just nicking under 29 minutes, which was 28.53, and that got me second. But of course, that's the slowest time I've ever run, and 4 minutes, 3.5 minutes slower than I've run in my mid-40s, and a full 7.5 or so minutes slower than you've run when you were in your late 20s.
But do remember, when you probably ran these times, as I say, you were probably trained, so you've got to pay that into context.
I do much more training.
That you were probably training a wee bit harder,
Far
a wee bit
harder.
more back then when you did it than you did now. So
Here's the thing.
So you know that if you did a bit more training, I know you were very sort of on weight, you could probably take at least a minute or so off that. But anyway, the fact that assume you just went round and kind of enjoyed it.
Well, I pushed it as hard as I possibly could. As usual, I got to the top of the hill and felt at that point, I don't think I can go any further. I think I have to stop. And so there's nothing left in the tank, and then you just kind of float back down the other end and try and survive it. And I did do that. But so in the end, I've definitely reached the time goal, given the fitness that I thought I had and the age I am.
I said to you last time, I thought you'd manage under 30 minutes.
Oh yeah, I was always pleased with that.
You weren't so sure about
No, I didn't think I was capable of that, so I am pleased, even though it's my slowest time. So that's that thing about accepting age, the limitations of age, isn't it?
You get first fit.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And I did 7 minutes 11 seconds a mile. I think that's what it was. So I mean, I was like almost 7 minutes miling round Kildonan with those hills. That's not bad when you think about it. Get us past next year.
Yeah.
But it was the slowest time. So this is that difficult thing. So with that in mind, how can you ever be satisfied with your performance? You can be satisfied if you maximise what you've got, okay? So, my target for this year, if I was to set one, which I do want to do, my ultimate goal is to run a 20-minute 5k with a bus pass in my hand, and that's the end of next year that I get that bus pass. So I need to run a 20-minute 5k. I haven't done one since I started running again in March, but I could probably do a 21 maybe. I would be able to, because that's what it's, anyway, the thing is, so I'm hoping, I need to get my time down, I want to get my time down, so I'm going to train harder, I'm going to up the mileage, I'm going to lose a little tiny bit of weight, even though I'm already slim. And so my target for this year, the ultimate goal would be 20-minute 5k, certainly sub 21 on the roads, and I would definitely be looking for 20 on the AstroTurf in Brodick. For some reason I just run faster there, it must be a springy surface. So that's my goal.
Consistent.
I'm going to up the training, I'm going to up it, I'm going to do longer runs, and I'm going to really be careful with my diet. My diet, to be fair, is the best it's ever been. How about you? If you were to set a goal for this year, what would it be?
Obviously that my continual goal for years is to try and lose weight. So that's kind of, and obviously, obviously try and steer clear of injuries, but that's the usual thing with me, is just frustration, and I do get frustrated that I struggle to lose the weight, even though I know what it would benefit me, not just running but lots of other things as well. But I do struggle with myself, because I know you seem to better motivate yourself a lot. The
weight is not such a big. I can make it move up and down. I can control it.
Although since I was ill, just having my birthday, I have lost 1 kilogram.
Right.
But So.
Okay, so that's your goal. So
That's my goal.
Because I've said for years, actually forever, I actually think you're a better runner than me. But as you know, currently I can run a bit faster than you. But it's just to do with that. It's just to do with that disadvantage. You know, you've done some extraordinary times in the past. So, okay. So, what we're going to do, we're going to find out what you weigh, and then we're going to see. I'm going to take a bench part. I've got a scales through there, and then we're going to find out in a month or two if that's gone up or down. Okay.
Right.
Even if I don't say what weight that is, I will be talking about
I can tell you what I am, but yeah, you could
Oh, go on then.
Hey?
Go on then, if you want.
Well, recent weight, which was just yesterday, was 97.75 kilograms.
Right. Okay. So we're going down from that.
Well, that's the... Yeah.
Okay, there's the goals.
Yeah.
Certainly doing a little race like that Kildonan one does help me to get more focus for that, so I enjoyed the race, to be honest, you know, even though I lost, if you know what I mean.
The funny thing was, as I mentioned with my run yesterday with my brother, the going up the hill, I felt terrible, but as soon as I started going down and hitting flat, forestry trails, I felt great.
Yeah.
It was weird. Once I got my descending and went to hit the forestry trail, and that was undulating, but I felt great. So it was just weird that I didn't, you know, I felt so bad, and then actually really enjoyed it. There's a wee sparrow feeding a wee baby sparrow. Oh, I've got fun in it. Look at it.
All these little bird feeders I've got all different birds and siskins and goldfinches and everything going to them. And that little window bird feeder I've got, they come up to that window and they eat right beside me.
I had a bat in the house last night.
A bat?
A bat.
That's unusual.
And I think it'd actually been there for a while, but I was in the kitchen, came out of the kitchen, went back in the kitchen, put the light on, this bat was flying about my head. So I'm like, how the heck did it get? So anyway, managed to get it out, open the door, put the outside light on, still wouldn't come out the door, so I went back in, and then eventually it flew out the door, so that was quite a bit of a surprise.
Yeah.
So I thought it was a swallow or something, but then I noticed it was a bat.
That reminds me of, at one time I was up walking about in pitch black in Golf Course Road above Whiting Bay, and I told this story to my dad, and he says it's impossible for it to happen, but I can tell you it did happen. You're in the dark, and bats have got this, what do you call it?
Yeah, flying to your head.
Yeah, flew right into my face.
Yeah,
and I know they've got that kind of vision where they can see things, and they're meant to avoid you.
When you're running, you obviously maybe catch them out. I was running along a path by the river, and a bat flew into my head. It was dust.
Yeah, right, you had the same thing.
But yeah, I've had the same thing.
Great, because my dad said they've got this vision and it's impossible to just dodge you. But I can tell you, there was a bat flapping about my face for a couple of seconds. It gives you a fright when you're in the pitch black as well. Yeah. Like you didn't expect anything to be flapping about in your eyeballs, you know. Right in the face. Yeah. Can't it be in the face, of course.
It's just.
I'm glad it's happened to you. That's the proof of the pudding.
Nothing you should be surprised me and Arran, but where I live, but things still do.
Yeah.
Like cycling up towards Fallen Rocks and an otter running towards me the other day.
It's running towards you.
I'm like, is that a badger? And then it turned tail around and thought it was an otter.
Yeah, they're quite big otters as they can be.
Yeah. It becomes part and parcel, just seeing things.
Yeah. And hand feeding the deer at your garden.
Hand feeding I've not managed to hand feed them yet, and but I used to manage to hand feed them a few years ago. But I know a lot of folk don't like you hand feeding them.
Well,
but anyway.
Okay, so anything that's happened in the island lately, I'll just quickly tell you.
Right. That's not to do with fairies.
No.
Right, you're not going to mention one thing on that things that happened.
No.
All right.
Well, I was going to talk about the Waverley just briefly.
All right, that's fine. That's different.
So the Waverley came to Arran a couple of weeks ago, first time of the season.
Yeah.
And I actually filmed it at both Loch Ranza and Brodick.
Right.
It was great to see it at Loch Ranza because you can get right up beside it, and it was like quite a high compared to the pier, so you could see the big paddle going around like that. You know, and I'd hear all the noise of it and everything. Yeah. Magnificent. It was great to see. You know.
Maybe it should do the Brodick to Dawson route.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah.
It went to Campbelltown. I mean, there's a lot of different places.
Yeah, it does, yeah.
But it's having a record year. I was just reading about it so far this year. It's really doing well. It was, of course, great weather until recently. We were under a month.
Did I not hear they were trying to get another paddle steamer up and running?
I don't know.
One that sits near Loch Lomond or something.
Mm.
I thought I'd heard. I've seen a bit about that. They were trying to get another one up and running.
No, I don't know.
Queen something, was it? Yeah.
Anyway, and the Waverley was built in 46, right at the end of the war.
Right.
And so I think there's two things to think about that. First of all, it's amazing that it's still going. When you think of what they had right after the war finished, they had nothing. You know, even the materials they had must have been so scarce, and yet it's still going. And also, I went on it in 1975 as part of the Glasgow 800 celebrations. So Glasgow officially turned 800 in 1975, and we went to Millport. This was part of the celebration. All the school kids went in the Waverley to Millport, and I remember this. And I was thinking about it. I remember at that time thinking this was such an old paddle steamer, you know, ferry in 75, but it was only 29 years old at that point. But the Caledonian Isles is actually older than that. And that's it. I'm not particularly talking about the ferry, I'm trying to talk about the Waverley. But that shows you how old the Waverley is now. And I haven't been on it since 1975.
I actually thought it was older tane that, so that's news. I didn't realise it was 1946.
Yeah, right after the war.
I thought it'd be before that, before the war. But I remember going on the Waverley when I was young, and I think the last time I was on it, we went to Rothesay. So yeah. Magnificent,
big engine.
Yes.
And I'm intending to go on it this summer, definitely. I'm actually on holiday next week, so hopefully I'll get on it then.
Right.
So it was just lovely to see it. Another story from me, at the terminal 3 days ago, a guy called Robin Hood came and asked for a ticket to Ardrossan.
I think he mentioned that, yeah.
And it turned out, just outside the door was this massive statue of a soldier weighing 15 stone on a trolley, and he's been pulling that behind him for, I think it was 7 years. He's done 2,000 miles. This thing weighs 15 stone, and he's raised £400,000 to create jobs for veteran soldiers. 150 jobs he's created so far, and he's even pulled the length of Britain twice, John O'Groats to Land's End or back, you know, the other direction. Isn't that remarkable?
Yes.
And that's his real name, Robin Hood. His mum named him Robin Hood.
Right.
So as far as looking up this guy goes, if you just Google search Robin Hood pulling soldier, that's how you find him.
Right.
But it was quite amazing to see, you know, and this is a full-size soldier. I guess 15 stone might be the weight of a lot of soldiers, so you're really pulling an actual person about.
It's dragging me about, yeah.
Yeah. Maybe that's the answer. I don't have to run in, just get on one of those trolleys and anyway, well done to him. That was good to see him. We're running along, is it Fairy Dell, Fairy Glen? Above Whiting Bay. Just coming, it's a wee path that takes us to the top of the Kiscorel Hill. Oh, jaggies. Bit boggy here as well. Oh, there we go. We didn't go up Glenashdale. We decided to just take it easy, didn't we? Stick to the kind of lower slopes. We didn't have the energy at the time, but it was nice, a nice run, isn't it? I've enjoyed our wee plod around here. This bit's a bit overgrown. I'll probably have to walk this. Coming down to the wee bridge. Horses come up this way sometimes. It's a bit overgrown now though. There we go. Waterfall. Let's up going. Thanking you. Oh, this is a much better pace than yesterday. Try to keep up with the guy who won the Kildonan race. Disastrous. A painful decision. Although I would have gone as fast as I possibly could anyway. Right, here we go. Coming onto the main track. Nice, up to the golf club on the right. All the little golf buggies in that shed there. Well, wherever you like, Gordon. That's Kiskadale. Down to Kiskadale? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Nice to live here. Right there. In a caravan. Little touring caravan. And at that time you could see all the way to the sea. But these houses, that house has been built since then. You can just about see the sea. All those houses weren't there. None of them. Not one. Funny to think. Every single roof wasn't there. And then up on the right, this is where the new holiday house is getting built on the place that used to be the Kiskadale Hotel. See how that's getting on. Ooh. Ooh. Something flew into my ear there. Hey? Yeah. Yeah, gotta watch your knees. We're both struggling with our knees today, one way or another. Here we go. Holiday house. That's one holiday house. 10 bedrooms, 10 en suites. Pretty big. And then back down to the centre. It's even bigger than I thought actually. Because it goes back as well. Yeah, 10 bedrooms, 10 en suites in there. 3 plots of land, all bought together to put one house on. The old police house. Some Harriets. And the wool and craft shop. Hey. There we go. I'm back to where we started. And the post office.